What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're getting into my Week 11 NBA Power Rankings. Let's dive right into it here. And a lot of craziness. Again, we're going to have some movement this week more than I think the past few weeks. But let's get into this. Starting out with the worst team in football, we have a new team down here. The 32nd team is going to be the New York Giants. This just team with Danny DeVito, he's just not the guy. They get absolutely blown out. The defense isn't doing their job right now. And the offense, man, yeah, it's just, the Giants are just not a team right now, too. They're just not a good team. They are the 32nd team right now. So, unfortunate for New York, the way the season's gone, but they just keep proving. They've been competitive in a few games, but that was with Tyrod Taylor and Daniel Jones, but now without them, this team is Saquon Barkley, and just about that's it. And Brian Dable trying to hold things together. So that's the Giants right now. Just been a bad season. Probably the worst team, at least expectations-wise, I would say this season that they've not lived up to that at all. And then 31, we have the Carolina Panthers staying at the same spot. Panthers just offensively need to do something because whatever it is, it's not working. Bryce Young, I believe in him as a player. I think he is the guy for this Carolina Panthers franchise moving forward. Frank Wright, though, I think he needs to be in the hot seat. I know it's one season, but come on now. This team, this defense as well is the worst, one of the worst in the leagues. And they've kind of stepped things up a bit, but it's been an underachievement from that defense, and then the offense has been struggling this season. Very much, probably one of the worst offenses in the entire league. So the Panthers right now, they just keep proving. They keep proving that they're one of the worst teams in the NFL right now. And then 30, we have the New England Patriots dropping down 2 spots. New England, Mac Jones just plays atrocious in Germany. Been kind of a storyline for quarterbacks in Germany that they've just played straight up bad. A lot of them, good ones too. Mac Jones, though, that's just not the only game he's played bad in. Let's be honest, he has not been a good quarterback this season at all, and it's not all on him, though. The entire offense is atrocious. The defense is trying to keep this team in games, but it's just not enough. That's the reason why the Patriots are above a team like the Panthers and the Giants right now, is because of that defense. But still, New England's been bad this year, which is crazy under Bill Belichick. But we're at that point in the NFL, so that's where we're at. Never thought I would say that, but 29, we do have the Bears at 3-7. Getting the win against the Panthers this week. Hopefully, they can get back on track a little bit more with Justin Fields. They have some talent, so this team's much less horrible than these bottom 3 teams that we've been discussing. The Bears are a team that has talent on both sides of the ball. Obviously, they're still trying to piece it together. They have a lot of holes, but they have some pieces to work on. So the Bears' future, I think, is very much brighter than those 3 teams. But still, just barely squeaking out a win against the Panthers. It's not going to do much for your rankings there. 28, we do have the Cardinals jumping up 4 spots. Arizona with Kyler Murray coming back. Kyler Murray proves why he was such a good quarterback. The Kyler Murray hate, I think's got to stop. He is a really freaking good quarterback in this league. People really were just dogging on him because he had not a great year last season, mainly because of Cliff Kingsbury, a horrible defense, a horrible offense. It was literally him holding things together. Look how the season ended when he went out. Kyler Murray, just a couple of years ago, he played like he made the playoffs for this team. This team was not good aside a few other players. Kyler Murray led that team. So Kyler Murray is the guy for Arizona. he should stop getting some hate for that. So that's what you really like to see if you're the Cardinals, is Kyler Murray getting back. And yeah, I think that they're heading in a much better direction than they were under Cliff Kingsbury with this young, scrappy team that they got. All right, and then number 27, we have the Green Bay Packers going to be dropping down a spot here. The Packers, just unfortunately losing this week to the Steelers. Had a chance to win that game, but the Steelers came out victorious. And are we really surprised? The Steelers keep doing this time and time again. That's just what the Steelers are. So, an unfortunate loss for Green Bay. Jordan Love did play good in this game, so that's promising for the Packers. But other than that, this team has a lot of holes. They play, I think they're the softest team in the entire league. Just play soft and play coverages that just, it just doesn't work. You got to play physical in this league. You can't get by like that. So, the Packers come in there at 27, dropping down a spot. Really because of nothing what they did. I think a team coming above them is warranted this week. But 26, we do have the Washington Commanders. They are going to drop down a spot because of a team coming up. But I think playing Seattle this week, they come up into the decent tier. They deserve it. They played really good. I was at the Seahawks-Commanders game this week. Washington gave us a scare. I'm a Seahawks fan. They gave us a scare for sure. Washington played a good game. Sam Howell played like a good quarterback. He really led this team. Brian Robinson had a really good game as well. So that's what you like to see. If you're a Commanders fan, the defense still has its whole issues right now, especially, trading away Chase Young and Montez Sweat. Those issues have not gone away. So the Commanders, they're a scrappy team. That's warranted for them being in the decent tier, I think, right now. They can pull off some wins, as they've proven this year. So Commanders coming at 26, dropping down a spot. Really kind of been fluctuating all year between this bad and decent tier. And then number 25, we have the Titans dropping down 4 spots here. Tennessee, rough week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers just matched up well against that Titans O-line that just had no answers. Will Levis today kind of degresses a little bit, but that's fine. You just cannot. It's not on Will Levis. You cannot succeed in the league when these O-linemen are just doing nothing for your team. The defense is scrappy. They're trying to keep them in games as a, what's his face? Why do I always forget the Titans coach name? Vrabel. That's what it is. Okay, sorry. As a Vrabel-led team is, we know that this team is always scrappy. So the Titans, they're still a decent team, but they're going to come in at 25. Number 24, we do have the Raiders staying at put. Getting the job done this week against the New York Jets. Just continue, with their interim head coach to be a decent, scrappy team. He's utilizing their weapons on the defense a lot better. This defense been a lot better since he's came in. Then the offense has just done enough to win games. Aiden O'Connell's obviously not the guy long term, but you do have Devontae Adams. You do have Josh Jacobs. You have some things to work with there for the future. So the Raiders coming at 24, staying put. They're still a team that needs to rebuild, though, especially with the quarterback position. 23, we do have the Los Angeles Rams. They're going to be jumping up 4 spots here. I know they're on bye week. The reason why they're jumping up 4 spots is because I didn't anticipate Matthew Stafford coming back. If Matthew Stafford's not back, they would have came right here. But Matthew Stafford, it doesn't seem like that injury was as worse as I thought it would be. So they deserve to come up to 23. Stafford does enough already to make this team up there. They haven't played good at all the past few weeks, though. So it's warranted for them being not a great football team here, but still, Matthew Stafford, I think, will help them out. And then 22, we have the Falcons, dropping down 5 spots here. Arthur Smith it's just been an unfortunate ride for Arthur Smith this season. I think Arthur Smith is a decent, coach. It's just he has some problems executing things. He has some good stuff going on, but I think he's more of an offensive coordinator type. I like his ideas that he brings to the table, but it's just not been working, especially the past few weeks. So the Falcons just continue to slip right now. Um, yeah, so unfortunate for Atlanta, but they deserve to come down to 5 spots in the decent tier. I don't think they're going to win this division at this point, no matter how good how much they turn it around, and how good of their weapons are. But yeah, the Falcons come in there. 21, we have the Colts jumping up 2 spots at 5-5 at this point. The Colts just getting a decent win this week against the Patriots. You get a win that you're supposed to win in Germany. You didn't look great. I'm interested to see how the Colts play against a good team with Gardner Minshew in there. That's the real question here. They're 5-5 right now. I anticipate this team to not be at that point. They're going to probably lose games, I think, but you never know. The Colts are. I like what they've been doing, especially on the coaching side, on the defensive end. So, this team, I think, is heading in the right direction, especially when they get back Anthony Richardson next year. But still, I don't think this team's going to be in the playoff picture at all, though, as we wound down to the final points of the season. And then 20, we have the New York Jets going to be dropping down 2 spots here. The defense for the Jets is that good that they keep them in every game. It kind of reminds me of the Broncos team last year, where they're like in every game. The similar thing is the Jets offense last year. So both of those things remind me exactly of that. Actually, a better comparison is just the Jets last season. They're the same Jets last year. Just a very good defense. Zach Wilson has his moments to keep them in games, but the offense is just incompetent on a lot of phases, including the quarterback, including the offensive line, including coaching. It just needs some work. And I don't even know if Aaron Rodgers would save that all the way. I mean, I think he would do a good job at it because we've seen he covered up a lot of weakness on the Packers, but it would be tough. That's all I'm going to say. All right, so now in the hunt here, we have the Buccaneers jumping up 3 spots. Tampa Bay this week, gets a win. I think at this point was like the Jets, the Falcons dropping down. The Buccaneers deserve to come up here. Getting the win. Their offense looked a lot better the past couple weeks, so that's good. Ending that losing streak. Getting the win. So I like that from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield's played a lot better the past few weeks. The defense is playing good. And this team just was the better team against the Titans. And the Saints didn't look great. So at this point, I think they're for sure in the mix for the playoffs. I could very much see this version of the Bucs, making it. In the NFC South. But then 18, we have the Saints dropping down 3 spots. This isn't really what the Saints did this week. Derek Carr gets injured. It's unfortunate. He'll be fine, I think. I don't know how long that is, but honestly, Jameis Winston has some things that he can do. Derek Carr is a decent quarterback. They're both very different. I don't know. Jameis Winston, I think, is still a quarterback that you can win with. But anyway, I think this is really because of a few teams that deserve to come ahead of them at this point. The Saints, just the definition of an average football team. Their offense has done a lot of average things. At some point, they're very inconsistent. They can't really get things going. They look pretty good the past few weeks, but then you have some moments where this team just has struggled. But then, the defense is pretty solid. They keep them in games, and that's the Saints for you. They're just an average team. Okay, then 17. Honestly, I think this is going to surprise some of y'all, but I have the Houston Texans here jumping up 3 spots. I'm going to give them credit. They beat the Bengals, and fully credit to the Texans. On a normal week, the Texans are probably jumping up more here, but I think there's some teams that deserve to come up here. Sorry, my voice is not the best today. That Seahawks game did not help, but The Texans, hear me out here. CJ Stroud's been playing phenomenal. I really like him. He's still a rookie quarterback, though. He's going to have his moments where he's struggling, but he's been for sure really good. D'Amico Ryans really leads a good defense. They come out in this game, play really good. We're the better team in this game on the road in Cincinnati. So those are all really good points that you can make for Houston. Why this team's better. I'm just not sold on this team yet. They're so young. There's just a lot of question marks on that defense, especially though. The weapons are working. The O-line is well coached, I think. So it's a very well coached team, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. I need to see more for Houston for me to really buy into this team as a lot of people are. A lot of people putting them in the top 10 even I've seen. So I don't think they're there quite yet. They're 17, which isn't bad right now, especially with some teams coming up. The Texans, good week. Okay, then 16, we have the Denver Broncos jumping up 3 spots. Another really solid week for a team. The Broncos this week get the win against the Bills on the road. Wild football game. But if you watch that game, I think it was pretty clear the Broncos were the better team in this one offensively. Just had some holding calls on the offensive line. A lot of holding calls. They need to really figure out the offensive line penalties. Other than that, though, they're running the football effectively. Russell Wilson's doing a great job at running this offense. Sean McVay's adapted and played to Russell Wilson's strength as they did in Seattle, and it's working. They beat Bills and the Chiefs. So this team's legit right now, I think. This team's a legit playoff contender, very similar to the Texans. That's why I'm putting these two right there. Is it enough for me to bring this team all the way up against some teams that I've had above them right now? I don't think we're quite there yet with these two. But both these teams, big wins the past couple weeks for them. It's hard to overlook some of the other things we've seen this season, but again, keep riding for both these teams and they'll keep moving up. I still got to be patient though. That's how I do these power rankings. You got to be patient with some things. All right, and then 15, we have the Los Angeles Chargers dropping down 2 spots. But the Chargers, unfortunate loss this week. Justin Herbert plays out of his mind this week, looking a lot more like the Herbert we expected, especially, looking at him last year. He was phenomenal. It's just, Brandon Staley's not the guy. How many more games of these do we need to have where we just see that Brandon Staley's not the guy? The defense just doesn't show up in this one. The Lions run all over them. It just horrible game for the Chargers. And I just think that the Chargers at this point on in their season right now, they got to evaluate. We have a superstar quarterback that we're paying good money for. What's the problem? It's the coach. Brandon Staley has not done a good job running this defense, which was what he was supposed to do. They fired Joe Lombardi last year, which was the right move to do. Now their offense has looked a little bit better, especially this week. They look better, but Brandon Staley's the problem right now. This team just continues to prove time and time again when they've had a tough team to go up against, they've lost. And that's not winning for football right there. You've got to prove you can beat these better teams. So the Chargers need to figure some things out right now. And then 14, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers staying at the same spot. The Steelers this week are at 6-3. Just continue to find ways to win. This week beating the Packers. But am I going to move up the Steelers for beating the Packers? No. I'm seeing a lot of people jumping on the Steelers train, saying this team's a really good team. This team's just what I thought they were going to be, a Mike Tomlin football team where he's scrapping out these wins, finding ways to win every game and just figuring things out. That's the Steelers for you. Do they deserve to come up because of that? I don't think so. So Pittsburgh, you're 6-3 right now. Hats off to you. But do I think you are a playoff team in the AFC? No. Maybe the NFC, but I don't think so at this moment. So Pittsburgh comes in there at 14, staying at the same spot. But then we have the Bills dropping down a spot to 13. I was trying to tell you guys, this Bills team is just not a contender at this point. They're just too inconsistent, and it comes into play here. They play the Broncos at home Monday Night Football, and they lay a goose egg throwing with 4 turnovers on the offensive side of the football. Josh Allen plays one of his worst games I've seen him play in a while, and that's saying a lot. Josh Allen has had some bad games in his career with these turnovers issues. So Buffalo Bills are one of those teams where you just their potential. They can click at any moment, and this team could be a top team, but they've been so inconsistent. You just cannot trust them. But with that consistency, I think they're still a playoff team. I think they're a better team than teams like the Steelers, Chargers, Broncos, and Texans. So I am going to keep them in this playoffs tier, but it's getting close. It's getting very close where we go and look at the Bills as a team that could miss the playoffs. They are outside of the playoff picture at this moment. So interesting team in Buffalo right now. And then we have number 12. We have the Minnesota Vikings jumping up 4 spots here at 6-4 on the season. Josh Dobbs has led this team. He has ran the table, and he is leading this football team. That's what you love to see if you're a Vikings fan. Obviously, Kirk Cousins goes down. It's an unfortunate injury. But Josh Dobbs, man, he's doing everything in his power to lead this team. The defense has been playing really good with Brian Flores. He's done wonders for this defense and that pass rush. And this team is a scrappy, really solid football team with weapons. And Justin Jefferson's coming back, arguably the best player in the entire league. So the Vikings, man, that's what you love to see. Minnesota jumping up to number 12. I really like where the Vikings are headed right now. They're going to be a decent playoff team, I think. Obviously, if you have Kirk Cousins, this team could be a contender. I don't think Josh Dobbs is going to lead you to a Super Bowl as decent as he's been, but you never know. It's the NFL. Anything can happen, but I'm going to keep him in this playoffs tier. And then number 11, we're going to have the Jaguars dropping out of the contenders tier here. Just getting absolutely slaughtered by the 49ers. I've seen a lot of people putting the Jaguars up at number 5, number 4, even 3. I know they've won a lot of games in a row, but it's not been against the greatest teams. There was the Bills in there, but that was a game where the Bills have been struggling, and they are ranked higher than them. So they haven't proven they could beat a team that's higher than them at this point. And then they go and play the Niners, a big game for the Jaguars, and they get absolutely demolished. So that's going to be tough for the Jaguars. I think this offense has concerns right now. The defense isn't enough. They don't have enough talent to stop everybody. The offense needs to figure things out right now because they've been a little bit struggling this year. All right, so now we have 10 full teams in this contenders tier. Let's get to it. Starting out with number 10, we have the Cleveland Browns jumping up a spot at 6-3 at this point. You got to give the Browns their credit. I think Deshaun Watson's coming alive. He's playing decent football. They have a lot of weapons on the offensive side, and that's enough to play a good game against the Ravens and come back and somehow squeak out a miracle victory. And then obviously we know this defense is top tier. They struggled early on in this game. They adjusted. They stopped the Ravens, gave their offense a chance, and they got a win. That's a really good Ravens team, and they deserve to be up here, I think, for that. So I'm going to give the Browns their credit. I'm going to put them in this contenders tier. But again, they're on the fringe of it. We'll see if they can hold on to it. All right, number 9, we have the Detroit Lions dropping down a spot. And yes, I have the 7-2 Lions at number 9. I'm just still not sold on Detroit in this game. There's still some big concerns on this defense. Don't try and deny them, Lions fans. This defense, when they go up against a really solid quarterback, the secondary can crumble. And we saw it here against the Chargers. Good enough that Jared Goff adjusted this week, played a good game, but we saw that Jared Goff the past couple games against the Ravens and the Raiders didn't play great. So there's still that possibility that can happen. The Lions has still been a very solid team this season. You got to give them credit, but still, I'm not sold on Detroit quite yet. All right, number 8, we have the Seahawks dropping down a spot, and a lot of people probably would say the Lions deserve to be ahead of Seahawks. I've seen that a lot, but Seattle has beaten Detroit this season. Geno Smith's playing at a level I think Jared Goff is at this point. He played really good in this game against the Commanders, who's not the worst defense in the world, and the Chargers are not the worst defense in the world as well. So there's that payoff. I do think the Seahawks defense is a little bit better. This is a solid defense for Seattle. I really like it. They have been a little bit rough the past few weeks, but I think they should figure things out. It's the NFL. Teams will adjust to you when you're on. So Seattle, though, good week. It was a really fun game to go to in Seattle. They get the win in a big game-winning kick from Myers. So good win for my Seahawks. I'm a believer in that team. And then number 7, we have the Cincinnati Bengals dropping down 2 spots. Just an unfortunate loss here to the Texans. They deserve to come down to it. It was at home. They deserve to win that game. The O-line's concerning. T. Higgins was out for this game, so that's also a big factor. But, I'm not worried about the Bengals. It was an off day for them. They won 3 straight or 4 straight against some really freaking good teams. They got to bounce back on Thursday Night Football and beat a good team. It's been a very tough schedule for the Bengals. I still think this team's a contender, though. The urgency still setting in there. The Bengals 5-4. This is the worst record of the contenders team at this point. There goes the Bengals, giving them some benefit of the doubt there. And then number 6, we have the Cowboys. Have been staying at number 6, I think, for the past 5 power rankings. And that's not just me intentionally doing that. That's just, Bengals drop, and then another team I think deserves to come ahead of them. At this point, the Dallas Cowboys at number 6, I think, is warranted. They dominate the Giants. Congratulations. Absolutely smacked them. They play a good game against the Eagles, but I still think they need to beat that top team for me to take them all the way up there. I do think this team is dominant. That's why this team is a contender. They can, I think, win a Super Bowl. But yeah, I think for this team to be in the top 4, top 3, they need to beat a top team, I think. All right, and then number 5, we have the Miami Dolphins dropping down a spot on bye week. They're only dropping down because of the number 4 team, the 49ers, jumping up 5 spots here, come into this tier. The 49ers, huge week for them. They get the job done against the Jaguars. Proved why Trent Williams is such a big factor. He played a phenomenal game, getting the job done. They had the week to get healthy. Chase Young played good in this Niners team. I think after that, it's safe to say they're back. It is a little bit concerning what would happen if these players get injured for the Niners, in the playoffs when the game's on the line. But still, you got to love that week from the 49ers. And then number 3, we have the Baltimore Ravens here. Staying at the same spot, I'm going to keep the Ravens put. Inconsistency is a concern for the Ravens. That's the only concern. Lamar Jackson didn't play his best football game here. The defense kind of melted down against Deshaun Watson to finish off this game, but I'm not worried about the Baltimore Ravens. You're going to have these games. It's the NFL. The Browns are a very solid team, a contender at that. Just a few weeks ago, they dominate the Seahawks and the Lions. So the Ravens are fine. I think they'll be fine right now, but it's a little bit concerning their inconsistencies. I do think this team's still a top 3 team, though. They've proven it this year. And then rounding it out, we have number 2, the Chiefs, and number 1, the Eagles. These two play on Monday Night Football to prove who is the best, both on bye week. Who will win that game will take the number 1 seed. I can almost guarantee that, unless there's some crazy injury in the game. But all right, anyway, guys, thank you all for watching this video today. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed the content. A lot of contenders. I'm assuming that list is eventually going to go down. But anyway, guys, peace out.